If you want to create the movie look straight out of camera without diving into the deep special effects world where you create all sorts of lens flares and warping, well then picking up an anamorphic lens is probably the best way to do that. And while many brands, including Sirui, are making autofocusing anamorphic lenses nowadays, these new lenses are all manual. This is the all-new IronStar series, and these are 1.5x full-frame anamorphic lenses. I have a set of 3 here, and I personally see them as a second generation of manual anamorphic lenses from Sirui. These types of lenses are really what put them on the map in the beginning, so this set I'd say is pretty important. So let's check it out. If you buy a set of 3, this is the Pelican style case that they come in. Each one is vacuum sealed and positioned nicely with a lot of padding for protection. Sirui is releasing 3 focal lengths, 35mm, 45, and 60mm, but 75, 100, and 135mm are all coming soon. From a design standpoint, these lenses are significantly improved over the originals. Construction is all metal and glass. They are heavy and feel robust like what you would use on a studio set, and I think they look very good. Sizes between the 3 are close, but the more telephoto you go, the bigger the lens gets, but the weights are all similar at right around 2 pounds 4 ounces each. Now that is not a lightweight lens, and even the smallest 35mm is not some portable pocket-friendly addition to your full-frame kit. These are purpose-built tools, and they are designed to be outfitted with motors and matte boxes and cages and monitors. Starting at the rear, there is a metal mount. These are PL mount, which is a huge positive in my view. This makes these lenses easily adaptable to any camera system as long as you have a PL adapter for your mount. I used a Sirui adapter to mount these on my A7C, but beyond that, these mounts are also swappable, and that's something that we saw from the VP1 series. You can actually change these PL mounts to Canon EF mounts. So if you shoot Canon, that's great, you don't have to use any sort of adapters. No weather sealing here, but there is a nice teal color design element here. The aperture control ring is first, it is geared, very stiff, which I like. It means that you won't rotate it on accident and you won't mistake it for the focus ring either. This is measured in T-stops and it goes from T1.9 to T16 nicely, 1.5x anamorphic printed on top, and in front is the focus ring. You get about 270 degrees of rotation that is very smooth, with clear markings in meters on one side and feet on the other. 35mm in this case is etched here, IronStar on top, and on the other side there is a Sirui logo, full frame prime cine, minimum focus of 0.65 meters. Around the front, the inner filter thread is 92mm, the outer diameter is 95mm for matte boxes. The front element is large with no writing or specs here. Inside, the 35mm has 20 elements in 16 groups, while the other two have 19 elements in 14 groups, with many of those being advanced elements. And on the bottom, you get a removable lens support bracket, which is a nice touch. I took these lenses out and I shot a little video with my friend Ian and model/actress Erica, and yeah, I don't know how to preface this, so let's check it out. Okay, so hopefully you weren't so engrossed in that storyline that you failed to notice how these lenses performed. All of these shots were straight out of the camera, ungraded, just de-squeezed, so straight out of A7C or the A7 IV, which is what my friend Ian used. For that montage, I used the 35mm and the 60mm to give me some variety that I wanted. The 45mm is kind of a weird middle ground of a focal length. I think that a 50 and a 75mm would have made things a little bit more interesting, but maybe 45mm is some up and coming thing that I don't know about. It's hard to review anamorphic lenses because they don't follow the standard rules. People who buy anamorphic lenses want character and they want flaws and micro contrast and who knows what else. What I will cover in this is the three primary elements of anamorphic lenses. So number one, squeeze factor. The squeeze factor on these IronStars is 1.5x. So this lens compresses your image, your sensor records it in this warped picture, and then in post you de-squeeze it, and then you get black bars on top and bottom without compromising your camera's resolution because you're using nearly all of the sensor to record the image, which when you shoot on a 16:9 sensor means you get a 2.66:1 aspect ratio, and then you chop off a tiny bit of the edges and you get that 2.4:1 or 2.39:1, whatever your preference is. For a full frame camera, I think the 1.5x squeeze is perfect. It's easy to work with because there is a preset in Premiere Pro. It's not too wide. It's not like a 2x where you are getting a really thin strip of an image after the de-squeeze and then you are chopping off almost half of it from the sides to fit your screen. 2x anamorphic lenses are very cool, but they are a little bit tougher to work with. I think that 1.5x is more than enough for the average pro to mid-level consumer. Number two, flare. One of the other main things that anamorphic lenses give you is flare, and unique flare at that. Now with this set, there are two lens flare color options, blue and neutral. My set is neutral, which I have grown to appreciate over the years, but depending on the genre or the type of video or look that you're going for, blue flares might also look very nice. The first few full-frame anamorphic lenses from Sirui were T2.9, and they flared almost too much. They flared like crazy. Many people ended up complaining about the fact that they did flare too much. These IronStars are very subtle in terms of flare, especially with the neutral color option. I like this a lot, but I know that for many people, they may not flare enough. My friend Ian, for example, who was shooting camera 2 for that montage, did complain that there wasn't enough flare compared to his original Sirui that he still owns and uses quite frequently. So this is something that you have to decide for yourself. I personally think that these flares are nice because they don't overpower your scene, but there are moments where maybe you do want them to overpower your scene if you're shooting a music video or something where the background is ugly and you want to distract from it. I don't know. Number three, the last anamorphic factor is bokeh. Normal bokeh is circular, but with anamorphics, you should get elongated oval bokeh. Now the 60mm does this quite well. You can see the ovals, they are a bit pointy on top and bottom, but overall very smooth, not distracting, minimal outlining and fringing. The 35mm has bokeh balls that kind of look like corn kernels, somewhat straight on some edges, at least in the center of the frame. The edges, they do get a little bit more circular, but I think that this is quite all right on the 35, as you will likely probably use it for more wider establishing shots where the bokeh won't be as important, but it is something that is worth noting. So those are the three areas that matter when it comes to anamorphic. I'm going to continue on for those who want to learn about things such as sharpness and distortion. Wide open sharpness is fine. It is not tack sharp, but most movies don't require tack sharpness. I think that these lenses are sharpest at around T4 and beyond. So if you do want a more clinical look, stopping them down is one way to achieve that. But wide open at T1.9, it's nice for subject separation and for blurring out those backgrounds. These lenses have some pretty strong barrel distortion, which again for most lenses is a negative, but for anamorphics, quite a lot of people actually prefer that look and like the barrel distortion, so it's kind of a positive. Obviously, there are no electronic contacts on the bottom of these lenses, so no in-camera corrections are applied for these lenses. The colors are on the warmer side, I would say, which is something that you can fix with some limited color grading. Jumping from one lens to another isn't a jarring difference. It does seem that Sirui has tried to match this set at least somewhat. Focus breathing is visible with all three of these lenses, so look out for that. Now, I talked to some directors of photography at times, and it's interesting to hear the different takes on focus breathing because some of these guys like a little bit of movement to create some life when they are pulling focus. Others find it annoying and they want focus breathing compensation for all of their lenses. This is a, I guess, personal preference thing, but in general, focus breathing is seen as a negative with every lens. Ultimately, this is a nice set of anamorphic lenses. I would recommend this over the first generation of those T2.9 Sirui lenses every day of the week. This is a big positive step towards, I would say, a more perfect anamorphic lens, which is kind of an oxymoron because if you achieve that level of perfection with an anamorphic lens, then it automatically isn't an anamorphic lens because you don't want it to be perfect. Anyway, they are quite good. Not perfect, but very, very good. They also appear to be a bit more expensive than before, probably because they are T1.9 and the swappable mounts and the other little goodies on them. So right now they are on Kickstarter and the super early discount price is $1,000 per lens, $3,000 for the set with the case. After that, they will go up to $1,200 and then it'll be $3,600 for the set. So I'll have some links to these down in the description and in the comments, so check those out if you guys have been waiting for these or looking for something like this. And let me know down below if you think that more flare is better when it comes to anamorphic, or is the more subdued flare of something like this more preferential. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.